Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Friday evening to you all. I hope you guys are doing great out there tonight. You had yourselves a wonderful day. And I hope everyone's been having a great beginning to their weekend out there so far. And speaking of your weekend, we got a lot to figure out. We have a winter storm that's going to move into areas in the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast over the next 36 to 48 hours. We're going to speak on that. And then a good chunk of the video is going to go towards speaking on this winter storm threat across the deep south and to the southeast. So this is the way that this video is going to be broken up. We need to focus in on that mid-Atlantic, the northeast winter storm threat first because it's closest to us, right? So I'll have a timestamp up for that. Second main timestamp will be for the south central U.S. I'm talking about states like Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Western Tennessee, etc. So those are the states that are going to be included in that south central timestamp. Then the southeast is Alabama, Georgia, areas of Florida, the Carolinas, areas of Tennessee, all the way up into Virginia. So, if you're going about halfway through the video and you're like, man, when is this guy going to talk about Georgia, South Carolina? That's where the states are in each individual timestamp. So take advantage of it. Chances are you're going to figure out, you're going to find the information you need in this video. My videos are very long. I don't know how to do it any other way. I don't know how people cover everything in like 8 minutes when there's so much information to go over, and I like getting very detailed. So we're going to do it like that, and we're going to break it down so there's a lot of information to go over. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. Folks, I ain't going to lie. I am pretty gassed. I'm wore out tonight. So if I slip up some words, mess some things up, I do apologize ahead of time. Making these videos twice a day. I'm loving it. My passion is just on fire right now because I love breaking down winter weather, especially when there's a chance from my neck of the woods here in central South Carolina. But I'm just feeling a little bit wore down this evening. So if I slip up a little bit, I do apologize ahead of time. Let's get rocking and rolling. So this is the latest watches and warnings map. And I'm showing you this for a reason because there's a lot of watches and warnings that are driven off our air mass on the way. First off, this kind of weird whitish color right here, these are cold weather advisories. But if you click up here, like right here, extreme cold warnings. I ain't gonna lie, when I clicked on this, I was like, what is an extreme cold warning? And I had to click on it and figure that out. But I mean, it is cold up here. We even have blizzard warnings. They expire in the next 4 hours. But I mean, you can tell. A lot of cold warnings, not a lot of winter weather alerts. You know the cold air is dropping down. We have winter weather advisories in the Rockies. We have some winter storm warnings in the pink. Winter weather advisories are in those purple colors. But the big thing I want you guys to notice is these winter storm watches that are now up in this kind of bluish teal color, okay? And this is up for the higher elevations of West Virginia, northern VA, areas of Maryland. Doesn't quite include like DC and Baltimore. You guys are just outside of it. But I wouldn't be surprised when we wake up tomorrow morning, if confidence increases a little bit more, we have winter storm watches issued for Washington. And I think a lot of these will get upgraded to winter storm warnings. Now, Philadelphia, you're just outside the winter storm watches too, including New York City, including Boston. But I think this will change. But the most confidence in an axis of heavier snow in this blue color more than any other area. So that's why they went on and probably issued those winter storm watches. So if I click here in like Eastern PA, for example, and I click on it, they mention total snow accumulations between 5 to 8 inches, but of course it differs. You go down here to say northern VA and it says 5 to 6 inches is possible. You can click on many different areas, but this is the corridor already where they're honking the horn that, hey, there's a winter storm coming in the next day and a half, 2 days. And it's pretty wild to think about because this is kind of snuck up on us, right? About 4 days ago, there was a potential for snow, but not as high as there is now. This has a shot to be a pretty moderate to almost significant winter storm for certain areas. And a lot of areas will get their most snow that they've seen so far this winter. So let's just break down the GFS. And we're going to focus in on the southern and central apps first, and then I'm going to show you guys in the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So this is around Sunday morning, January the 19th. We already got some snow breaking out, especially on the western side of the mountains, snowing. Showing a little bit of snow as far south as Middle Tennessee. We'll see if that happens. That darker blue is a little bit heavier snow. And this low tries to crank up. And as it does about midday Sunday, snowflakes could be flying around in eastern Tennessee. I mean, Gatlinburg, northeast Tennessee. We'll have to see if this overachieves. And, I'm going to show you zoomed in looks at the snowfall accumulations the actual National Weather Service is calling for here in a second. But we got snow in West Virginia. This darker blue, that's heavier snow in like Western Virginia, eastern West Virginia. And we continue, and, we get into Sunday evening. Next 48 hours, guys, like 2 days from now. I'm not talking about, like, next Sunday, this coming Sunday. So we're left with some light snow in that lighter shade of blue, and this continues, and we go into Monday morning, and it's done. Doesn't look like a big event for this area. You guys kind of get, I would say, not the leftovers, but right at the beginning stages of this system. It really blows up as it moves further to the northeast. Now, speaking of the northeast and the mid-Atlantic, we're going to start this off Sunday morning, January the 19th, and we start to get into Sunday midday. The GFS going crazy with this. That is really heavy snow right where West Virginia, Maryland, and Virginia meet, all the way up through the Allegheny Mountains. This darker shade of blue, that's moderate snow. We'll take it one more frame. This is Sunday afternoon. Low pressure, 998. It's getting kind of close to the coastline, so you're starting to deal with some mixing issues in like Delaware, southern New Jersey, and just areas of like the Tidewater of Maryland, maybe north of that area, I would say. How much snow? Where's this rain-snow line set up, right? Does it get all the way down into North Carolina? Very possible that like the northern Piedmont into like the Triad of North Carolina could get some flakes late Sunday. But you continue to move this forward. Cold air is meeting this system. This is a 994. It's really cranking up. And if the GFS is correct, it is just, it's really coming down. It's snowing pretty hard in New York City. It's snowing very hard into Hartford. Heavier snow starting to move into Boston. And, as this thing's pulling through, somebody said, hey, Mitch, can you mention Cape Cod? Well, if the GFS is correct, it's going to be mainly rain in Cape Cod because the low pressure goes right over you guys in Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, and those areas. But, I would say the GFS might be a little bit too beefed up as far as that low pressure being strong and that precipitation being more so west. But this is what it shows, and I definitely think you'll get a little bit of snow out in southeast areas of Mass, but we'll see what happens. And, this is the middle of the night, Monday night. Let me slow down. I told you guys I would mess up a little bit. Middle of the night, Sunday night into Monday morning, and you got an all-out snowstorm affecting most of Maine now. And then this is moving out quick. It's not like a nor'easter where it hangs out for 48 hours. But man, it's a big hitting quick winter storm, I would say. Now let's break down snow totals. We're going to start from the beginning of the storm and work our way all the way into the northeast. So let's start for areas of the furthest south. This was updated a few hours ago. It's eastern Tennessee, areas of areas of Virginia and Kentucky. Gatlinburg going for around 2 inches of snow. I'm not going to try to mention and gas myself out here and try to mention every single town. Hopefully you can see it pretty well. But in the Tri-Cities area, going for an inch or so of snow. You guys have had a pretty good winter up here so far. A lot of light to moderate events, I would say. But in general, in this entire area, I would say the common theme is an inch or less of snow, or maybe as high end as around 2 inches. Not a big event for this region. Now, we head on up to, we're everywhere here. We're heading on up to Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky can get anywhere from 1 to 5 inches of snow. So if you're tuning in, you're listening on your headphones or something, you can't look at the screen. Anywhere from 1 to as much as 5 inches of snow. Now that's a big range, but if you can look on your screen, you'll see individual towns and stuff. For example, like London 1 to 4, Harlan 2 to 4, Black Mountain 3 to 6, Hazard 2 to 5 inches of snow, and less as you get into the central portion of the state. Now we start to move into West Virginia. It looks like everybody in West Virginia is going to get accumulating snow off this. Charleston a good 3 inches, Elkins 6, Snowshoe 8, Petersburg 4, Cumberland 3, Morgantown 3 inches of snow. So Beckley 3, Logan 4. So definitely a decent snow event, not a ground, not a huge, massive snowstorm by any means, but definitely something that's suddenly trended into a more moderate of a deal, I would say. Now, higher populated area, the DC, Baltimore area, going right now, as of a few hours ago, for 2 to 3 inches of snow. I think they're starting to think that you might deal with some mixing as you start to get closer to the Delmarva, for example. Annapolis 1 to 2, Winchester 4 to 6, Charlottesville, about an inch or less. Fredericksburg 1 to 2 inches of snow. Hagerstown 4 to 6, Cumberland 3 to 4, and Bel Air 3 to 4. Just trying to mention some areas. And then we move into PA. So Eastern PA could get a big winter storm from this. Harrisburg, anywhere from 1 inch to 8 inches of snow, but I would lean towards the more amount, right? Gettysburg, 1 to 7. Scranton, 1 to 7 inches of snow. Allentown, 2 to 8 inches of snow. Philadelphia going for about 1 to 4. Now, this is kind of the broad look at PA. Typically, they expand their ranges a lot more, but, Erie's going to get 5 to 7, but this is mainly lake effect driven. And I've left a lot of people hanging, guys, as far as, many areas. There's so much going on that, unfortunately, and I had a comment saying, Mitch, can you focus a lot on the lake effect snow too? It's tough, guys. It's tough to try to get I'm a very detailed person, and I don't even like to get into an area if I can't get detailed. So, but this is look at Delaware here. I zoomed in, look at Delaware, obviously to over 2 inches, but the further north you get into Delaware, the more snow. Wilmington, about 3 to 4 inches of snow. And then we take a look at, say, New Jersey. Here we go, New Jersey. Further north you go, the more snow you're going to get. You get up to several inches once you get up here. Trenton, about 4 to 5. Jersey City, 6, 7 inches of snow. The Jersey Shore, a couple inches of snow. And then we start to move into Long Island, New York City area. Waterbury, 6 to 8 in Connecticut. Danbury, 6 to 8 to Cold Spring, 8 to 12. New York City, 4 to 6. And that's about the general theme out on Long Island. A little bit less when you get into the eastern sections, but New Haven, 4 to 6. So, I mean, this has turned into something more significant for sure. This could definitely change. And then we head on to the rest of New York, and this is what you're looking like. Albany, about 6 inches of snow. And then we take a look at southern New England, Mass included, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Hartford, 6 to 8. Springfield, 6 to 8. Pittsfield, 6 to 8 inches of snow. Boston, 3 to 4. Plymouth, 1 to 2. So a little bit of snow out here in Cape Cod, but, I mean, I really thinking you're going to deal with mixing issues. 2 to 3 in Providence. So we'll see if any of this increases a little bit closer to the coastline. And then, taking a look at New Hampshire, the lower section of New Hampshire is definitely going to get more snow, over a half a foot of snow possible. And Brattleboro, Manchester, Bennington, you get into the central portion of the state, more so 2 to 4, and less when you get further north. And then last couple areas, Vermont, the general theme is around 2 to 6 inches of snow. The further south you get, the more, Concord, 4 to 6, Portsmouth, 4 to 6. Areas of Maine here, Auburn, 3 to 4, Augusta, 3 to 4 inches of snow, and then the rest of, let's see, the rest of Maine. Down east areas of Maine could definitely get over a half a foot of snow if you live in that yellow area. Bangor, about 6 to 8, Caribou, about 4 to 6. So that's an update on the Northeast system. Now let's talk about the South. So I want to bring up this graphic. They issued this around 4 p.m. Central Time earlier this afternoon. When they issue stuff like this from the National Weather Service, you know that it's not some random guy talking on the internet. It's got legs now. It's real. So it's key messages for January 21-22, deep south potential winter storm. So we've been talking about this for several days. Hey, that's looking likely. We just got to figure out the details, right? So we've checked off phase 1. Pattern looks good. We know that. Phase 2 is, are we going to have a storm? We can pretty much check that off. Phase 3, the details. We got all weekend to figure that out, and that's exactly what we're going to do. It says increasing potential for a winter storm across the deep south next week. And you can pause this, look at this all you want, but, it has some pretty cool graphics here. Chances of at least moderate winter impacts. I mean, it stretches from Texas all the way up to southeastern VA. In that yellow area, I mean, that's over a 40 to 50% chance. And the blue, snow, and then someone's going to get the dreaded red area, which is freezing rain. We'll talk about all that. Let's talk about the South Central first. So in this time frame, let's mention 2 things. This is going to include Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Western Tennessee, and Mississippi. I don't think it's going to get much further north than that. Time frames are up here. So for example, this says Monday, 7 p.m. So back this up an hour. This is 6 p.m. Central Time. Timestamp up here too. And I know it's kind of small if you're watching on your phone. I'll try to mention it as we go. That's probably one of the biggest complaints I get in the comments, and rightfully so, as you cannot see the time frame. Guys, editing these videos is unfortunately, I don't have the time to do it. And I wish I did. In the future, I will. But for now, we just got to roll what we got. So let's start off. This is Monday evening, January the 20th. Here in the next 2 to 3 days, guys. Snow, wintry mix. The blue is snow. The pink is freezing rain. The orange is sleet. But I don't want you to focus too much right now. We're getting closer where I can say, okay, you can focus in on that now. I don't want you to focus too much on the type of winter weather. I just want you to look at those colors that I just mentioned, blue, pink, and orange, and say, okay, that's winter weather. The green is rain, not winter weather. Monday evening, wintry mix, winter weather breaking out over central Texas. We start to get into, let's go to, bang, this is Tuesday morning, January the 21st. Winter storm breaking loose, breaking out across areas of Texas. If you live in that pink, orange, blue area, okay, that's where you're getting winter weather. This is getting almost all the way down to Houston, southern areas of Texas, not looking as wintry anymore. This is this is trending a little bit more amped up as far as moisture. Snow's making it almost all the way up. In fact, it is to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That darker shade of blue is heavier snow. Look at the snow and the winter weather moving across Louisiana, southwest Mississippi. We take it to about midday Tuesday. Now you have winter weather all the way down to the Gulf Coast, from Houston all the way over to Biloxi, Gulfport. I mean, you got a wintry mess. This is heavy snow north of that mixing line. And this continues. We start to get into Tuesday afternoon. I mean, look at the darker shades of blue, guys. This is heavy, heavy snow. This has a shot to be an historic winter storm for you folks. You can now use those terms, in my opinion. Okay, you continue to have it. We get into Tuesday evening. It begins to head off to the east, but it's still just pouring snow as far north as like Jackson. This is not a forecast. I know you guys are probably annoyed to the end of the earth hearing that, but the precipitation shield can shift some still. There's still a threat that there's going to be no storm, but I would say the risk of that is starting to go away now in these areas I'm showing you. It's just trying to figure out the finer details of it. But we don't know if this is where the axis of the precipitation is going to be. Okay? So we continue to move forward. We're starting to get into late Tuesday, and, it starts to head on out. It starts moving to Alabama and stuff and points east, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But, just to recap that, here it is, just breaking out just across the deep south. Notice you're not getting much in Arkansas, even northern areas of Texas, Oklahoma. It's not even getting up to northern areas of Mississippi. Next thing we'll look at is the latest Euro, and I hadn't even looked at this yet. So this is going to be new to me. Okay, we're starting this off Sunday evening, so it hasn't ran yet? What? That stinks. So, dang. All right, Euro is not done. It's just easy like Sunday morning. It's just taking its sweet time. So what we'll do is we'll break down the Canadian, then we'll go back to the Euro. Okay, and if the Euro isn't finished running, we'll just talk about the 12Z Euro. Which stinks because every little change in model, guys, makes a huge difference. Confidence increases one way or the other. Let's look at the Canadian model. One of the most common comments I got reading the comments on the last two videos was, let's go Canadian, let's go. I can tell you one thing, it's been consistent, but it has ticked a little bit more towards the GFS and the Euro, but it hasn't ticked much. Canadian model run from this afternoon. So this is starting off Monday evening. Here it comes. Boom. Much powerful of a winter storm. Much more powerful of a winter storm. You got snow just breaking out over a huge area of Texas, central and northern Texas Tuesday morning. Winter weather, almost all the way down to Corpus Christi. We got wintry mess ongoing if this actually comes to light here across Houston. You got winter weather all the way down to the Gulf coastline, Texas, and Louisiana. And then we start to move into Tuesday midday. Heavy snow moving across eastern Texas, to 2/3 of Louisiana. We even have the shield trying to get all the way up into central Arkansas. A little bit of light snow getting up to Memphis. Taking another frame. This is Tuesday afternoon. Look at all that winter weather down in Louisiana and Mississippi. And the difference between the GFS and the Canadian is that, the Canadian's just more juiced up. It has precipitation further north, which I think is going to end up happening. But just how far north. All right. So we're getting to Tuesday evening. This continues and continues to be an impactful event. If this happens, just a historic snowstorm. And then we start to get into the middle of the night, Tuesday night and Wednesday, and then it wraps up. But the Canadian obviously continues to stick to its guns to a much more impactful system for more people. So let's try to go back to the Euro, and I just don't think we're going to have it yet, unfortunately. And, well, we got a little bit more here, so let's see what it shows. The latest Euro, we start to get into Sunday, and then we get into Monday, and, yep, that's all it does. So we're going to have to switch it back to the 12Z. That's fine. Still new data. A lot of people don't even use the 18Z data. A lot of meteorologists don't. But this is Monday afternoon on the European model, and we start to get into Tuesday morning, and it's much more suppressed, right? So it has most of the winter weather confined pretty far south. Big cold dome of air pushing everything, suppressing everything south. Winter weather confined to a good chunk of the Texas coastline and Louisiana. I mean, it's snowing all the way into the Gulf. Snow's moving into southwest Louisiana. And, I mean, it is such a cold run that it's just all snow from, I mean, almost north of Brownsville all the way to Corpus Christi to Houston to this whole entire southern section of Louisiana. It doesn't even have, like, much ice mixed with this at all. Like, this is just a very suppressed snowstorm. This is getting in Tuesday afternoon. We get into Tuesday evening. It's snowing in the Gulf of Mexico. It's pretty wild stuff. Now, you know, we'll try to switch it back one more time to the 18Z, and we just don't have it. But there's the moisture building up, and already if you compare 18Z with the 12Z, and it looks at almost the exact same. There's not much difference with it by Monday evening. So I'll try to go back to this. Let's go over the ensemble guidance, and then we'll try to go back to this really fast. Okay, so the GFS ensemble, how much snow does it show? Well, I definitely think we'll get accumulating snow in the Rockies, the Front Range, but watch how the footprint of snow shows up. Remember, the ensemble run makes up many members, puts them all together, it averages them all up, puts them all together, creates a mean or an average, and this is the number you're going to get. So this is not a forecast for how much snow you're going to get, but watch what pops up to the south. Boom. Okay, so I'm going to have to switch it to this and that. And this goes all the way out to Thursday morning of next week, the 23rd. That's a several inch snowfall average for southeastern Texas, the heart of Louisiana, and to southern Mississippi. Not much of anything up in Tennessee, really not anything in Arkansas, Oklahoma. I mean, you got over a 5-inch snowfall average in central Louisiana. I mean, that's just crazy stuff, right? Shreveport, you know, you kind of missed, I believe, on the snow of the last system. You might miss to the south with this one, but you gotta just hope that it's a little bit further north than what's forecast. And it won't take much ticks to Shreveport. Dallas-Fort Worth, it's definitely well south of you guys. I mean, you have over a 2-inch snowfall mean in Houston, Lake Charles I mean, you see it, guys. I mean, Gulfport, Biloxi, I mean, a couple-inch snowfall average on the Gulf coastline. It's just wild stuff. I can't get over it. Now, what about the Euro ensemble? This is what it looks like. It's even further south. It's got a 3-inch snowfall average over the freaking over the whole rigs in the Northwest Gulf. I mean, I don't even know if there's, I'm pretending to know that there's old rigs right out here, but you get what I'm saying. It's just, it's wild stuff to me. It really tells you how rare this is. I mean, pretty wild stuff. Southeast Texas, couple-inch snowfall average. I mean, it's kind of the same footprint of the GFS ensemble, but a little bit further south. It's even further south. So, yeah, guys, I mean, wild stuff. And, you know, the next thing you'll look at is the Canadian ensemble. And, I mean, it continues just to be beefed up. I mean, it really has a more northerly expansion of the snowfall footprint on the Canadian ensemble. So, I mean, it has almost a 2-inch snowfall average up the Dallas-Fort Worth, a few-inch snowfall average in Houston, not as much down the central Texas coastline to the southern. But, I mean, you have anywhere from a 2 to as much as almost a 6-inch snowfall average in Louisiana. The central to southern areas of Mississippi, a few to several inch snowfall average. It's just a lot more beefed up. Now, let's switch it back to this and see if we can catch this. We got any new data here? We do. So let's see what it does. And yeah, it doesn't look much different than the OOZ at all. In fact, it really doesn't look any different. Let's see. In fact, the 12Z is actually a little bit further north. So the 18Z looks a little bit more suppressed. Still just snowing in the Gulf. Pretty wild. So 18Z does not look much different. But moving, let's make sure we're right. All right, so this is the Southeast. So this is, if you're just tuning in from the Southeast, just clicked on this timestamp. a quick reminder, we're going to go over all model guidance, and then we're going to discuss ensemble guidance. Not a forecast stuff, but we're just going over the model guide. So we're going to start this off. This is the middle of the night, Monday night to Tuesday morning. So literally, we might as well call it midnight, okay? So we're going to take it, go on and take it to Tuesday morning. So this is Tuesday morning, January the 21st. Like it says 7 a.m. This is Eastern time, so 6 a.m. if you're in Central time. So Tuesday morning, we already got a wintry mix breaking out across southern areas of Georgia off the GFS, even the panhandle of Florida. But this is the main system right here. You continue to move this forward, and we're starting to get into Tuesday midday. Look at this little area of snow getting all the way into Atlanta, snowing in Birmingham at this. Okay, snow's getting all the way up to Jackson. We've already spoke on Mississippi, though. Wintry mix beginning to move into Mobile. Blue is snow, orange is sleet, pink is freezing rain. Don't focus so much on, I would say, the winter weather precipitation types. I would say focus more so on which colors are winter weather precipitation types, which is blue, which is blue, orange, and pink. Okay, we'll figure out the finer details in the next couple days. But you keep on going. Look at the snow breaking out over central South Carolina, light, but certainly breaking out. And then boom, we get into Tuesday evening, and we got this corridor like around and just south of the I-20 corridor of heavy snow. We got that icy mix south of it. We got snow getting all the way up into southern areas of Virginia. And then check out the tilt of this. You know, it's really came north and northwest. So now we got freezing rain breaking out across central and southern Georgia. It looks like you were getting mainly rain in northern Florida. But hang on, because other model guidance says different about northern Florida. We're getting freezing rain instead of snow along the Carolina coastline, the Georgia coastline. Freezing rain into the western panhandle of Florida. And for whatever reason, this looks odd to me. It really does. It goes from snow to like hardly no sleet straight to freezing rain. I don't know if I buy that. That looks just kind of weird. But all snow up here in eastern sections of North Carolina. If I back this up, this is heavy snow in Columbia, like Tuesday evening, late Tuesday evening. This is getting the middle of the night, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. This is getting into the wee hours of the morning, Wednesday morning. Still kind of just a wintry battleground across central Georgia, South Carolina. Heavy snow falling across northeast North Carolina, southeast VA, the Delmarva. And then this heads on out. But it's a massive winter storm. And, the thing is if I go to this, let's look at the run, say, at 12Z. Okay? Not a whole lot different. Let's look at the run in 06Z. It was further away, and then the run at 00Z. So we've had this trend northwest, right? Moving it all the way up to the present run. The heavier moisture, especially on the last one, really gets bulked up in the deep south. So we've trended towards more moisture. The more we trend towards more moisture, though, guys, the more we're going to have temperature issues, more so in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So the more moisture we trend to, the more freezing rain I think we're going to see in this area. This is the latest GFS. It heads on out, and then that's all she wrote. What about the Euro? And we do have the 18Z Euro. It's not a whole lot different than, I don't think, than like the 12Z Euro, but starting it off Tuesday morning, January the 21st, here in the next few days, snow breaking out across Louisiana, and then we get it into Tuesday afternoon. It just shows a lot of snow hanging around the Gulf coastline. It doesn't have the moisture getting all the way up to, say, Birmingham, really. It barely has it getting up to Atlanta at this point. Now, this is Tuesday afternoon. What happens next? Moisture gets a little bit more beefed up here. Okay, we're starting to get this little area of heavier snow. This is like Tuesday evening, breaking out across southwest Georgia. Look at the heavy snow. Like on the GFS, it's mainly rain where it's showing winter weather across the panhandle of Florida. This is snow across New Orleans. It's snowing in Mobile, Panama City, Tallahassee is a wintry mix. We take it one more here. And, it doesn't even really get the axis of snow up to Atlanta. Columbia gets into some light snow, Charlotte maybe, but it really keeps most of the action along the Carolina coastline. Like this is a band of moderate snow along the Carolina coastline, and this is an ice storm ongoing in northern Florida, southeastern Georgia. So, and then it heads on out. So I would say, the latest Euro actually looks like it suppressed it a little bit more. So this is the current run. This is the run from 12Z. Yeah, the 12Z run was a little bit further north. And guys, we're going to continue to have these ticks back and forth. You know, I mentioned this, 4 videos ago, that you can't get overly emotionally involved in one run. That's a lot different. Doesn't have moisture near as far west as, say, the GFS, right? So you still have the fail mode if you're a winter weather fan of this being dry. But even if this happened, the temperatures while the snow is falling, guys, are pretty cold. 20. So I mentioned this on Twitter or X earlier today. 1 inch of snow is going to be a huge deal in the Southeast from this. It kind of reminds me of 2014, the snow jam in Atlanta. I think Atlanta only got 1 to 2 inches of snow in that, but it snowed in like the upper teens, low 20s, and stuck on everything. Kind of reminds me of this. You're going to have plenty of cold air, but are we going to get a lot of moisture? Now the Canadian run, here it comes. It is just a monster winter storm. We get into midday Tuesday. Here comes the snow moving into, it's as far north as Tennessee. Heavy snow getting into Birmingham. This would be Tuesday evening. Heavy snow starting to move into western Georgia, including Atlanta. Snow starting to move into central South Carolina. And then all of a sudden, late Tuesday night, it would have a huge snowstorm ongoing in Birmingham, Atlanta, Columbia, down to Macon, Montgomery. You would have snow starting to move into Charlotte. Yeah, there's no point overly analyzing the Canadian run because it is a bit of an outlier. And, just a monster ice storm for areas of northern Florida. The thing with me with the Canadian is the overnight model going to tick a little bit more suppressed? And it has lost a little bit of its beef, its moisture, if you will, prior to some runs before. But, this is a big winter storm. But, you kind of stop it right here. What did it look like, say, last night's run? It was definitely more beefed up, right? And what did it look like with the run like yesterday? Yeah, it's just further north. So it's definitely trended further south. And it's kind of met the other models in the middle now. So a lot of people are wondering in the comments, how accurate is the Canadian? Well, I don't think it's a terrible model. I think I read somewhere where so far this winter, it's like the second best model so far as verification scores. But this is what models do. They kind of tick to one another. And it looks like this is ticking to more of a suppressed look, which fits the pattern a little bit more. So, what about the GFS ensemble? As far as snowfall accumulations, guys, here it comes. Ignore all this. This is from the storm that's going to happen later this weekend, early next week. This is the signal that comes up with the GFS ensemble. So, as you can tell, we'll take it all the way to Thursday morning. You got a pretty beefed up signal for back here that we've already talked about. Southern Alabama, 1 to 2 inch snowfall average. Mobile almost 2 inches. South central Georgia, a couple inch snowfall average. You get into the eastern Carolinas, it's 2 to 3 inch snowfall average. And if you're not, this is not a forecast. If you're new, GFS ensemble and the Euro ensemble, which I'll mention, and the Canadian ensemble blends a bunch of members together. Some members are complete whiffs. Some members are big hits. Some are somewhere in between. It blends it all together and creates a mean or an average. So you got almost a 2 inch snowfall average in Columbia. I would love 2 inches of snow. I feel like this setup could do so much better. But, I mentioned earlier to some people, I was like, man, I'll take 1 to 2 inches of snow in a heartbeat. But definitely favors eastern Carolinas, central and southern Georgia. And I would even watch out for, you see, southeastern areas of VA. I think could definitely get into this. But, you get up to Atlanta, Birmingham, Charlotte, Greenville, Spartanburg, there's definitely a sharp cutoff. And I think there is going to be a sharp cutoff. Now, what about, say, the Euro ensemble? And we only have the 12Z. Kind of the same similar footprint, right? And doesn't go as far north in Alabama, but, it has a few inch snowfall average in southern Georgia, the panhandle of Florida. This was one of the most, I said this on Twitter today, one of the most impressive looking Euro ensemble runs under 150 hours I've ever seen. It has a 2 to 3 inch snowfall average mean down here in the panhandle of Florida. Just unreal stuff. Southern Georgia, same thing. And then the eastern Carolinas, like the I-95 corridor points east, 2 to 4 inch snowfall average. I mean, 1 to 2 inch kind of in Columbia. Same thing with Augusta. So, yeah. And then you got the Canadian, guys, that it just continues just to go absolutely bonkers. In fact, it actually, what's wild is the Canadian went a little suppressed, right? But the Canadian ensemble just went even crazier. So it has over almost a half a foot snowfall average in Atlanta, 8 inches in Columbia, ridiculous. I can't wrap my head around how happy I would be if we got 8 inches of snow in Columbia. But, eastern North Carolina, some areas have almost a 10-inch snowfall average. I mean, it's pretty high in Southeast VA too. But I mean, look at back here in Alabama. So pretty wild stuff, man. I just can't get over it. But the ice average has, lessened up, but it's still like the Euro ensemble. This blends all the ice members together. Southeastern Georgia, over a 1/4 inch. I mean, you almost have a 2/10 of an inch average in Jacksonville. So we need to watch out for a crippling ice storm in certain areas of southern Georgia and northern Florida. If there's anywhere where this keeps showing up, it's in those areas. But if anything like the GFS happens, then we need to watch out for ice into South Carolina too. So I want to go over this really quick. This is the latest Euro ensemble as far as chances of an inch of snow. Here's the key down there. It's going to be very hard to see, but I mean, going for well over an 80 to a 90% chance here in southern Louisiana. But, the confidence drops off a little bit more once you get into Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas. But if you live in this kind of muted shade of orange, that's a 60 to 70% chance of an inch of snow along the Carolina coastline right now. And this is what a lot of more conservative meteorologists use, so I feel comfortable using it. But Columbia, 40 to 50% chance of an inch of snow based off this. It's chances of 3 inches of snow. I mean, heck, guys, Myrtle Beach in this has around a 50% chance of 3 inches of snow. So, anyways, guys, it's going to be a long weekend of trying to figure this one out. I do want to mention the cold really quick here. This is for tomorrow morning. We got big cold starting to move into the country. But look how this cold continues to crash southeastward and eastward over the weekend. This is Sunday morning temperatures. This is Monday morning. Sub-freezing low temperatures gets all the way to the Gulf coastline. And this is like high temperatures Monday, guys. High temperatures, sub-freezing all the way into the deep south. This is high temperatures like Tuesday. Sub-freezing high temperatures, all the way down to the Gulf coastline. Sub-freezing high temperatures. High temperatures. And then, yeah, just wild stuff, guys. So, very, very cold. I know I keep saying that over and over. It's wild stuff. I'm burnt out, guys. I'm a little tired. So, I'm just being very repetitive. Probably a more sloppier video than usual. But I think it's important to continue to pump out this information for you guys. And we're going to continue to do it. I'll probably just need a good night of sleep. But God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day. There I go again. Have a wonderful night. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning. God bless.